If you want to know what total chaos looks like, you look at the summer of 1900 in China. The Boxer Rebellion wasn't just a local uprising, it was an international crisis. 8 nations, one city, and a group of rebels determined to drive out every foreigner. Today, we're zooming out from the individual heroes we've been profiling to look at the crucible of it all, the Battle of Tientsin. This wasn't just a skirmish, it was a multi front international urban brawl that decided the fate of the legations in Beijing. And honestly, if you've been following our deep dives into the lone hero mindset, you'll see exactly why the guys on the ground had to be as tough as nails just to survive the first hour. By June 1900, the foreign concessions in Tientsin were surrounded. You had the U.S. Marines, British sailors, Japanese troops, Russian Cossacks, and German soldiers all jammed into a tiny space. They didn't speak the same languages, they didn't have the same doctrines, and their command structure was a nightmare. Have you ever wondered if an army of 8 nations actually works, or if it's just a recipe for disaster? Let me know below. The Boxers and the Imperial Chinese Army were hitting them with everything they had. Every day was a fight for the walls, and a fight for the supply lines, and a fight against the heat. The real battle for Tientsin kicked off in mid-July. This wasn't the open field of Gettysburg where Cushing stood. This was house to house, alley to alley. The Allied forces had to take the native city. You've got the Japanese taking the brunt of the assault on the east gate, while the Americans and the British provided the covering fire. It was brutal. The Chinese artillery was dropping shells directly onto the Allied positions. This is where the gallantry we've talked about on this channel becomes so relevant. Every man on that line knew that if the person next to him failed, the whole position collapsed. Why go back to Tientsin? Because when you hear about heroes like Sergeant John Mapes Adams, you need to understand the pressure cooker he was living in. Tientsin is the why behind the heroics. It reminds me of the discipline Kearney showed at Fort Wagner, or the raw courage and sacrifice of Abril in Korea. War changes, weapons change, and tactics evolve. But the intensity, that moment where the world stops and it's just you and the enemy, and exactly the same in every century. The Allies eventually broke the siege, but the cost was massive. It was a brutal lesson in the difficulty of international warfare and the resilience of the individual soldier. If you could have been a fly on the wall at a command headquarters of one of the 8 nations during that siege, which one would you pick? Drop me your thoughts in the comments below. If you missed our deep dive on Sergeant John Mapes Adams, which is not even his real name, head back to the library. His actions in the thick of this rebellion are what legends are made of, even though there's very little records of what exactly he did, and his citation for the Medal of Honor is 2 sentences long. My name is Kenny. This is Gallantry in Action. See you next time, and stay legendary.